The question is, are you ready?
What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you.
Throwdown Nation, we are live. It is a Thursday night. We are rolling on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter /X, Facebook, and Twitch. It is episode 109 of the Throwdown with Matt. And today we are throwing down with a Davenport, Iowa-based pro wrestler and graduate of the Black and Brave Wrestling Academy. Tonight's guest, Mr. Casey Jax. How you doing, Casey?
It's good to be here, Matt. Good to be here on a Thursday night, episode 109 of the Throwdown. It's a little rainy here in Dubuque, Iowa, where I reside. I hate to correct you on that first thing out the gate, but Davenport, very much considered a home to me, so that was still a good call.
Gotcha. Sorry about that. I just presumed you were still in Davenport.
Hey, it's a good assumption. It's as home to me as anywhere else.
How far is Dubuque from Davenport?
At about an hour and some change, depending on who's driving. If I'm driving, it's about 45 minutes.
Gotcha. Well, for those of you that are watching this live, if you have questions or comments, just throw them in the chat and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. So we'll go ahead and start with the first and most obvious question, and that is, how long have you actually been wrestling?
I just passed my 2 years, my 2-year mark in, when was it? February of this year. Forget, so just a little bit over 2 years.
Gotcha. And like I said, you're a Black and Brave product. Have you trained anywhere else other than Black and Brave?
No. My only professional wrestling experience is Black and Brave. I have trained like a little bit of Muay Thai in the past, but like, my God, I never even stepped into like my high school gym, for example. So like athletics and stuff was all pretty new to me going into it.
Gotcha. So, I know that, for obvious reasons, that's a very prominent, very exclusive school. And I know that there is a waiting list to get into Black and Brave. How long did it take you between when you signed up and when you got to go? And what was the experience of getting into the school like?
For me, I will say I got particularly lucky, largely due to being particularly persistent. I had initially signed up to participate in a 2024 class, or perhaps it was 2023. The details are a little fuzzy, but when Merrick got back in touch with me, he had quoted me that the class I had signed up for was filled and said that I would have to enroll in September of 2025. And I basically said, dude, I'm going to be like going on like 30 years old. I don't really want to start like in my 30s. Like, is there anything we can do? And I just kept asking him, like, is there anything we can do? And he's like, can you be here in 3 weeks? I said, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. Like, no, yeah, 3 weeks. Come in with tuition in full, and we'll get you in. We just had someone drop out, so I was just like, okay. Called my job real quick. I was like, look, sorry guys, I gotta go. Like, this is a pretty big opportunity.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So, one of my recent guests actually presented an interesting challenge to me, and I've sort of taken the idea and incorporated it into my repertoire of questions here. And I just think this is kind of a unique challenge. And that is, try to sum up your wrestling persona in 5 words.
In 5 words, huh?
Yeah.
It's just me, boss man.
Nice.
There's not much more else to it, There isn't a lot of gimmick that goes on here, I'm no occupational guy. I'm just the guy who loves to go out there, make a lot of noise, and make an impact.
Nice, nice. So I'm presuming that you've been at least a fan of the stuff the majority of your life. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. I didn't start watching the actual product till a bit later. It was like, I want to say like 2009 or so. I'd have been around like 12 or 13. Not for anyone doing math at home, but like, I growing up, I had an older brother who loved playing the Nintendo 64, and we had, no shortage of great wrestling games on the Nintendo 64. So I grew up on like WCW, NWO Revenge, and WWF Attitude.
Oh yes.
And those were like probably my true introduction into wrestling.
Gotcha. Well, what is your earliest wrestling related memory? What is the earliest thing you remember watching or seeing as a fan?
It was the earliest thing I remember seeing was Shane McMahon versus Randy Orton, no holds barred. And this was, 09 Randy Orton, when he was insane bald legend killer, kicking people's heads off and shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I probably should. Cursing on the show, is that?
Oh, it's fine. It's
Perfect.
fine. It's fine.
I would say you're gonna learn that.
I mean, as long as you don't Dana White it and every other word is the F-bomb. I mean, it's fine.
I'll do my best. But yeah, that's my earliest wrestling memory.
Gotcha. Speed round. Sting.
Oh!
Yeah. Absolutely. So, away from wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
Well, I mentioned video games earlier when we were talking about my introduction. I'm a huge video game guy. I love fighting games. I play a lot of popular battle arena game called League of Legends. That's been it's pretty infamous over the past like decade or so, and I've been a part of it for like its entirety. John Pike, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Good Lord. We really just let anyone in this chat, eh, Matt? But outside of that too, I'm big into them and Japanese cartoons, also known as anime.
Oh yeah.
But those,
yeah.
Video games and anime. That's my bread and butter right there, brother.
Gotcha. Well, as far as anime goes, I don't have a lot of knowledge in that area, but we're mostly a wrestling show, but we do dabble a little bit in pop culture and such. So, are you by any chance watching or listening to anything cool right now?
Let's see. What am I watching right now? There's a new anime that I just finished past the question, but like I'm in between stuff. Called Blue Lock. It's an anime based around the sport of soccer. It's very very good. A lot of people have an idea of what like anime is based off of like what they've heard or seen of Dragon Ball Z. And it hits a lot of like those same notes as a lot of those popular action animes, which is why I like it. So animation is fantastic. Story is very good. Yeah, no, just big fan of that I just finished up recently. That and I'm getting into another anime called Solo Leveling right now, which has gotten really popular over the past year or so. It's still pretty new.
Gotcha. So outside of wrestling, what person inspires you the most and why?
Outside of wrestling, huh?
Yeah.
That's a hard one. I don't know if I have a fantastic answer for that, and that's only because I've really let myself be very, very consumed with wrestling over the past couple of years. So like that's honestly and very truthfully, like a lot of my inspirations these days are strictly wrestling. Well,
we will get into that side of it later on in this, so fear not. So currently, you said you're in Dubuque, Iowa. Is that your actual hometown? Are you an Iowa boy, or?
Yep. Born and raised, 28 years, and I'm so good. We're getting into that it's kind of spring kind of temperature where it's like it'll be 70 one day and then 2 days later it'll be back down to the low 30s. Like I just every single year I tell myself this is my last fucking winter in Iowa, and every single winter I go, why am I still here?
So, what is your favorite thing about Iowa?
Ah, man, it's probably just like it's quiet. As I go to some of these other cities, and like outside of wrestling, I've just dedicated a lot of my recent life to traveling a bit more. And it's just Iowa is quiet, which I've learned to appreciate a bit more, and also like it's relatively inexpensive to live here. Like I've outside of that, I don't much care for a lot of the culture. In Dubuque, we have a couple of like staples. Like you gotta love our local pizza place, which is Happy Joe's, and you have to know how to play euchre. I don't like or know how to do either of those things, so I consider myself one of the worst locals that exists.
Speed round. Raven.
Hardcore.
Yeah. Years ago, I went to a small comic book convention here in Atlanta, and Raven was a guest at the convention, and he was sitting at a table on the show floor, basically being ignored. Nobody at this comic book convention seemed to know who or what Raven was. And I saw him just sitting there at this table, so I went over and had about a 30-minute conversation with the guy. And, and basically he and I just kind of had this uninterrupted conversation because nobody else seemed to be interested in Raven. But nice guy. And one of the things I always dug about him is he sort of came from the Jake Roberts school of promos. He rarely would raise his voice. He would just project quiet menace. And to me, that's more intimidating than a guy foaming at the mouth, screaming with the veins popping out of his head. They say fear the quiet ones. And I always dug Raven because he just would quietly tell you what he was going to do to you, and get it across in a to me a more chilling delivery.
Oh yeah, I have just it's funny that you bring up Jake the Snake, because I just very recently have tried digging like super deep into some old Jake the Snake matches and promos. Just I've realized over the years that I'm not a very good talker in the ring. I get out there and there, you see a lot of trash talkers in this business, and I'm just not really one of them. And so I run into these problems where I go to places where they ask me to work heel, and I got to get heat some way, right? So I've been really trying to, again, really master the art of just that quiet menace, because again, Jake, when the Undertaker himself goes on record and say that the guy that he learned the most from is Jake the Snake Roberts, you take notice of that.
Yep, absolutely. So, they say that the best in-ring persona is pretty much yourself turned up to 11. And you kind of alluded to that earlier when I asked you to sum your wrestling persona up. But tell us a bit about in-ring Casey Jax and kind of compare and contrast him with everyday you, or is it kind of a what you see is what you get?
Yeah, no, I would say you're right on. Like, what you see is a lot of what you get. I try and in ring meet people to where they are. If you are the type of guy who thinks you are going to out wrestle me, out technically, if you're going to like technically best me, fine. Let's do that. If you want to brawl and try and beat me down, we'll go there. If you want to flip and fly and dive all outside these rings, hey, you better look up then, brother, because I'm coming. I struggle a little bit on the power side of things for obvious reasons. I'm this big, but hey, you know what? There's nothing that I won't try to do. I have always hated the idea of locking myself into a single style. I think that's part of the reason that, I don't do a lot of characters, because that's, what can I say? It's a big commitment to do that in some of these places, like you find one thing that people really, really like, and you're stuck with that. And it doesn't matter if you like it or not. The second you come up with the idea, that's what you're gonna get out of your money. And that, I don't think I'd be comfortable with that.
Gotcha. It's funny. When I was, I'm an old guy. I'm 55. So when I would have been of the age that I could have considered going into the wrestling business, it was still very much the land of the giants. And I'm a smallish guy. And, it has done my heart good watching the business evolve to where the smaller, really athletic guys can actually really make a go of it in the business now. You still see a lot of enormous competitors out there, but you see smaller, driven, athletic guys really tearing the houses down, and that just does my heart good. I just love seeing the small guys do well now.
Oh yeah,
So,
it's part of the reason that I even decided to, make the leap, so to speak, and give it a shot. I had gotten, really deep back into professional wrestling as an adult. And this was, around the time of the inception of AEW. And it was like a year or so in, and I was watching, guys like Jack Perry and Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara, got guys.
Orange Cassidy.
Around,
I mean,
yeah. Well, hey, don't let his looks fool you though. Orange Cassidy is getting up there. Brother's like 40 or so. He just looks like but still, like, seeing these young, smaller guys on TV, like, entertaining thousands and like millions on occasion, winning championships, and like, it made me realize, it's like, oh, maybe there's a spot for me in this.
Absolutely. So tell us about your very first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts going in, thoughts coming out? Lay it on us. I can tell there's a funny story.
This is not by any means indicative of what we just talked about. My first match was against a gentleman by the name of Garat. Garat, best way to describe it, it's a very Kane-esque gimmick. As in, we're talking, brother is about 6'2", 6'3", with a big old leather mask and some gloves. You want to venture a guess as to how long my first match went there, Matt?
Under a minute.
A minute on the dot. Thank you very much. I attacked him fast. I attacked him hard, and it didn't do shit. But I mean, But that being said, it was still my moment that I had to go out, show people that I'm here, introduce myself to the world of the hundreds at Wildwood in Iowa City, and let them know I'm not going anywhere. And as I got plucked out of the air and thrown to the ground, and then picked back up and thrown back on the ground and choked the absolute life out of me, he did a mandible claw as a finisher, so you can imagine how well that looked.
Oh yeah.
I like to say I left enough of a first impression for the SCW Pro faithful.
Absolutely. So, speed round. Kevin Owens.
I miss him.
Yeah, I am so bummed that injury got in the way of what was going to be just a classic.
I know. I'm on multiple levels, because one, again, just like Kevin as a performer is just fantastic. Like, you believe absolutely everything that he says. He's one of the most, like, I'd say, transparent acts in the business right now. But on top of that, too, the revival of, like, we were like staring down the face of the revival of that famed Randy Orton gimmick that we alluded to earlier.
Yes,
it just sucks, man.
Yeah, it does. It does, and hopefully, the severity of the neck injury in combination with his age and everything. Hopefully, this isn't it for Kevin. I mean, I hope I hope and pray that he has a good recovery from this, because neck injuries, you really just never know.
Yeah. I think it's like, at that point, whatever he decides to choose, like, he doesn't know anything to the business at this point. He's done.
No.
He's done basically damn near everything. Like,
yep.
I think anyone would be happy to leave out on the career he's had.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So we've heard about your first match. Now tell us about your favorite match that you've been a part of, if you can narrow it down.
I think I'd have to narrow it. I'd probably have to narrow it down to two. The most recent one was the I recently participated in a tag team ladder match. It was my first ladder match. Only like I want to say second or third, sort of like gimmick match, so to speak, sort of no rules, hardcore style match.
Mm-hmm.
And so, something that me and my tag partner at the time had kind of been like, people have kind of made the comparisons of like that, hot, energetic, high flying tag team that fare well in that match style. That created a very, very big moment for me. One that I think back of fondly. My first "This Is Awesome" chance, which is, you never like, it's what we do the bit for.
Yep.
And the second one would be this was within my first year, and it was a 2 out of 3 falls match with a gentleman out of Illinois by the name of Austin Michael Baldridge, AMB. And it was for his home promotion at the time, PWX's United States title, which, I mean, you just like, you get in there with a guy like Austin, who just brings, again, so much of like that innovative Flair style of offense, and not Ric Flair to be clear, like
Right.
the really, the really impressive style of offense. And it just, with the amount of time we had, it just makes very cool moments. So I'm very, very proud of that one.
Gotcha. So, and I know everybody has them, but what is your biggest in-ring pet peeve?
Honestly, and I say this with absolute sincerity, I am so much more focused on like the stuff that I could be doing better to really notice anything that anyone else is doing that like bothers me, other than
Gotcha.
like I will, if I communicate something and you say you understand and then proceed to not do what I communicated, though, I will say that does bother me quite a bit. Just because I try so hard to be to not like get in my own head and like actually like talk to who I'm out there with. So like when I do it and it feels like it was just ignored, and I just that. I think we found it, Matt.
Yep. So, what does your family think about all of this? What do they think about the fact that you are pursuing a career as a professional wrestler?
They've been nothing but supportive.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, like they were obviously like pretty shocked, since it's like a lot of the very successful stories outside of like DDP, are the ones that start very young. And that's something I think about quite a bit, is that, like, again, I didn't start till I was like 26, so I basically feel like an old man to a lot of these locker rooms, with a bunch of guys, like just 18 to 21. But no, I mean, like, yeah, my mom still does her best to show up to like all of my local bookings. Obviously, I'm not going to ask her to travel like 4 hours to the middle of BF, Wisconsin to see
Right.
see me wrestle. But no, I mean, they've been some of my bigger supporters.
Gotcha. Yeah, a number of years ago, I trained for a few years in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, hell yeah.
And at the time I started, I ended up usually being one of the oldest and also one of the smallest people in the class. So, I had to play a very mobile game.
Yep.
Especially the first few years, because if I let these bigger guys get on top of me, I wasn't going to be able to get them off of me. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
I know how that works, brother.
Yep. So, I know that there are essentially 2.5 ways of preparing for a match. You can either work it out with your opponent in the back, you can call it in the ring, or you can do a bit of a hybrid of both. Do you have a preference?
I think I like to do a little bit of both. Like, I feel like it's really important that you know what your moments are going to be in a match, and that, like, obviously some of those can just happen out there, like the very early stuff. Like, you can establish a lot of that just off of, like, again, like what kind of crowd you're in front of. But excuse me. And then obviously you can adjust accordingly. But, like, for me, if there's key stuff I want to get in, then, like, it's important to talk about that stuff beforehand outside of, like, your finish,
Gotcha. Speed round. The Iron Sheik.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Yep. And
God bless you,
yeah.
baby.
Man, I absolutely love the Sheik.
Any story I've ever heard about Sheik is just the funniest thing, man. Oh,
I know. I know.
What a specimen.
Yep. He was one of a kind for sure. I mean, when they made him, they definitely broke the mold. So, if you could only be one, would you rather be great in the ring or great on the mic?
I'd rather be great on the mic, because being great on the mic gives you nonstop opportunities to showcase personality and character, and at the end of the day, like, those are the tools that get you places. Like, there's, like, only a couple guys ever that have used fantastic in-ring work to really, and I specify fantastic in-ring work alone. And that's, like, Bret Hart. Oh god, this is not a good time to be blanking on this topic. Or, like, guys who have used, like, a super athletic move to, like, really get themselves over. Evan Bourne comes to mind with the shooting star press. But even then, Evan Bourne, while a lot of people very much remembered him, he didn't bring a lot else to the table, and thus it didn't, like, really make it super far past, like, tag team title success. So I would much rather be a fantastic promo with a lot of personality. I'll settle for great in-ring work, though.
Gotcha. I'm actually looking over at the Instagram chat, and my son's lacrosse team is all they're all logged in on the chat, and they've got a lot to say.
Oh boy.
Their long stick Mitty just said Iowa is cool. I've been there before. Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I was not bad, especially Dubuque. Especially, I tell people who visit all the time, everything in Dubuque is, like, beautiful to look at, like, twice. But after you see everything twice, you got nothing, brother.
Absolutely.
Knock it out in a weekend.
So, what has been your most unusual encounter with a fan? Or have you had anything strange?
Well, I'll say, you never know what kind of night you're gonna have when a single mom walks up to you. I'll leave it at that. No, but unusual encounter. as boring as it seems, no, most of the fans I've gotten to encounter have been pretty tame. No one's asking me to, other than signing the obscure piece of trash, which is strange but ultimately harmless. I got nothing bad to say about the fans I've encountered thus far.
Gotcha. So I do have to shout out Brandon in the Instagram chat room. That's another one of my son Zach's lacrosse teammates, and he actually lives down the street from us. So.
Oh, right on.
So in terms of your in-ring work and your promos, who are some of your influences? So this is where I said we would be getting back to who inspires you. So,
I mean, I never miss an episode of Monday Night Raw just because I take, a lot of, obviously as a Black and Brave graduate, I watch a lot of Seth Rollins matches today very closely. Other than that, on that same token, and this may be controversial to some wrestling fans, CM Punk, I take a lot of inspiration of as well. Jeff Hardy, I've been a huge Jeff Hardy fan for as long as I've been a wrestling fan. Same with Chris Jericho. I've always really appreciated Chris Jericho's ability to constantly reinvent himself into something relatively fresh. Some of the material these days have been looking a little stale, but I mean, fucking whatever. Dude's he's pushing 50 plus. I don't know exactly how old he is. He's getting up there, brother.
I think he's about 2 years younger than I am, and I'm going to be 56 in September. So I think he's around 53, 54, somewhere in that range.
Jeez.
So yeah, I mean, and
he still does a lion salt. I can't even do a lion salt. It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. To be essentially my age and still be operating at the level he's still operating at is just crazy.
For real.
So
I mentioned that I've been drawing a lot of inspiration from Jake the Snake recently to try and get that, sort of more mysterious menace down. I should probably do the same with some old Undertaker, but the problem is his Dark and Menace looks a lot different from Jake the Snake's because he's 6'8" and creepy.
Yeah.
But there's still something to gather from there. And then lastly is Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega got me really dragged me back into wrestling, kicking and screaming in my adult life, and Will Ospreay too on that token. So those are some of my bigger inspirations.
Absolutely. So, you were mentioning Seth Rollins for obvious reasons, but here's a question. Would you say you're more of a Seth Rollins guy or a Tyler Black guy?
Seth Rollins guy. I got into watching the actual product a little bit later, 2009, and when you're a kid and you first see wrestling, that's all there exists. So I didn't even know what Ring of Honor was until I was, in college, basically. And had no idea who Tyler Black was until I became more of a Smart Mark fan and started doing some digging into who these people are. Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, I tell people who have only seen him doing Seth Rollins that to really get the whole picture, you do need to go back and take a look at some of his stuff in Ring of Honor and on the Indies as Tyler, because, it's a different aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But so do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that you can have watched it a million times and it just never gets old and there's always some new little something?
This is absolutely not going to be the first time you've heard this one, but it's Shawn Michaels Undertaker for Mania 25.
Yep.
A close second is Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada in the Dome. I don't remember which one it was that like I saw first. But I mean, God, fuck, you can pick any of those matches from that series that they did. But I think it was the second one. The second one is when they did the time limit draw gimmick. And yeah, that. But it's definitely Taker versus Michaels at Mania 25.
Yep. Something I always pass along to young wrestlers is a match that you need to seek this out. It's probably out on YouTube somewhere, but from back in 1989 at a WCW Clash of the Champions, there was an I Quit match between Ric Flair and Terry Funk, and it is a master class in storytelling. So seek that match out. You'll thank me later.
I'm looking that up right now.
It is awesome. It is so good. Just it is well worth your time.
Said Clash of Champions 89.
Yeah, 1989, Flair versus Funk in an I Quit match.
Oh yeah. I'm marking that down because that sounds.
It is awesome. And actually, it's been a few years since I've seen it, but as I recall, the Great Muta is actually involved in the match as well.
Oh no way! Oh
yeah,
and that Muta's another one of those that's been popping up in my my research in my free time.
Oh, Muta was awesome. I mean, Muta was incredible. So, in your opinion, and this is right at this moment, who are the best male and female wrestlers in the world right now?
Oh man, best male wrestler in the world right now. Look, I'm biased, man. I'm not even gonna try and hide it. Best male wrestler for my money is Seth Rollins. Now I will definitely hold a bit of ignorance on this, because I don't want a lot of what I watch outside of outside of like stuff from my own personal research is just like WWE. So like many other current products, I don't have a lot of time to watch. like AEW, I haven't watched in quite a while, which I would like to. I just don't have time. But yeah, so that's Seth Rollins today is probably one of the best in-ring workers of all time, and he's got fantastic character. I'm super biased. Call me a mark.
Not at all. No, I get it. What about female?
That's a tough one, man. That's a really tough one. I think Tiffany Stratton is fantastic. I think Io Sky is also fantastic. Best in the world. I don't know if I could give it to anyone in the WWE. Because I think there's a lot of talent in AEW. There's a lot of talent in Stardom. But again, I haven't watched any of those products enough to really give you a conclusive answer.
Gotcha. Speed round. Jay Lethal.
A lethal injection. Woo!
Yep. I still watch the Jay Lethal Ric Flair.
Yeah!
I watch it. I mean, yes, I watch that about once a month just to get a good laugh.
Oh, it's so good. It's like that and Steiner Math too. Both from TNA. Wow, who'd have thunk? Ew.
Absolutely. So, and this can be present day or past. Who would be a dream opponent? Who would Casey Jax love to share the ring with?
Jeff Hardy. I think
Yeah.
they're, like my gut tells me like a lot of people, obviously, like, I already named, it's pretty much like the whole influence list, but like of one, I've been using the Twist of Fate in my repertoire for like since I started. And I mean, I don't think there is like a bigger inspiration for me that I would just love to share the ring with.
Gotcha. So, what is your favorite move? What is something you just really enjoy doing? And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you won't do or you would at least rather not do? And that can be giving or receiving.
One move that I love to do, and this is completely just like, for my own personal enjoyment, is a move I came up with. I call it the Lions Barrage. It's a version on a leg drop. That it Zachary McAndrews, I appreciate that a lot, brother. Sorry, I just saw that come across the chat. It's a version on like Kofi Kingston's like boom drop, but instead of like two legs on the middle, it's like the side of my one leg. It's a bit difficult to describe. There's like a couple different ways I do it, but it's just like one of my own like personal little home brews that like I came up with. It's one of the few things that like I feel unique to me because I don't see like much anyone else do it. Moves I hate taking, dude. Like a power bomb is just never fun, man. It's just like, especially like depending on who's giving it to you. If the person isn't like super nice, like there's only so much you can do to like really make that not suck.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know that this will ever happen. And really, at my age, I don't know that I want it to happen. But I do have kind of a bucket list item. I would love to get put through a table. But,
Hey, man, you know what? Anything. All I gotta say is, $1 million man famously said, "Everybody's got a price."
yeah.
You show up to the right circus with the right amount of money, it'll get you through a table. You might not love
it. Yep. So, you've only been doing this for a couple of years and you're still comparatively young. So this may not really apply, but I'll ask it anyway. And that is, what hurts right now?
My neck. My neck, my hip. That's about it, though. Obviously, I consider myself lucky every time I'm able to walk away from the match, because obviously some people aren't so lucky. But
Right.
Again, to work at a fairly consistent rate and be in pretty good shape at any capacity, doing this, fucking happy with that.
Absolutely. So what is your take on the role that social media is playing as a promotional tool in wrestling, specifically indie wrestling?
I hate it because I'm bad at it. I mean, obviously, like, it's fantastic. There's no bigger platform for people to like get themselves over with receipts, proof, like in this day and age. Like, even again, just in my coaching with Merrick and such, hearing the stories of them having to go, yeah, there was no Facebook. You couldn't look this guy up. You just had to go by hearsay and like trust that they were telling the truth. Like it's awesome. Like it's a game changer.
So, knowing everything that you know at this point in your life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
It's gonna be okay. Start now. You know, there's no sense waiting because like time's gonna pass. And at the end of the day, failure is scary, but not nearly as scary as thinking you made the wrong choice by being hesitant.
Yep. Wise words. So, do you have any pre-show traditions? Any things that you try to do consistently before you walk through the curtain?
Nah, still figuring that one out. so figuring out what works for me. I'll tell you what doesn't work for me, and that's showing up to work hungover. Like,
no doubt.
But no, not really.
That would have to be miserable.
Oh my god, like you wouldn't believe. But no, I like I do fairly basic stuff. I try and get a pump in, stretch, blah blah blah. If I'm having a not fantastic mental health day, I'll find a quiet corner to try and just like do some deep breaths. Oh, excuse me. Meditate, just get kind of back centered if I'm particularly nervous, but nothing super consistent.
Got you. So something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we've let the current guest pose a question for the next guest. So my previous guest was actually a female wrestler out of Mobile, Alabama by the name of Viral Lestrange. And the question that she posed is, what to you is more important, the look, the character, or how you work in the ring?
Obviously, all three are equally important to the whole show, but above all else, I think character is the most important. Which given my style seems contradictory, but well, what can I say? I have a lot to my game that I'm working to improve, and I think you get a lot of mileage and a lot of entertainment value just out of having a good, solid character that does the job for you. Like, one of the guy that I just worked recently, he wrestles under the name Corn Boy. Guess what Corn Boy does? He loves corn. That's it. He goes out, he screams corn in the middle of Iowa, and you'll never guess what happens. Everyone loses their fucking mind. Like, it just works, and he knows the character, and he's committed to the character, and it just works. Like, he doesn't have to do anything but go out, scream about corn, and then a match happens at some point. It's awesome.
Absolutely. And and some of the characters like that are basically based upon the most random things are oftentimes the most engaging, most entertaining. I mean, I know corn is a big thing in Iowa,
Yeah.
but
and so I think to better answer or I shouldn't say better answer, but like a lot of it just depends on what the character is too, though. Like some characters are their in-ring work. Some characters are their look,
Right.
There's another guy very close, very close to me. He goes by the Riz God, Calvin Kelly, and his character is just he's a pretty son of a bitch. Like he's a good looking dude, and so all he does is go out there and look pretty, and then people buy it and they get mad at him because he looks pretty. And then a match happens. It just works.
Yep. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So since this is part of a series, do you have a question that you would like to pose to the next guest?
Next guest, what is your favorite color?
Okay. How would you answer that?
Mine is blue. That was the gimmick for a while. That was I just recently got away from that, but every single thing I did, it had to be blue, and that also meant my moves. You better believe there was a blue thunder bomb coming into some of these arenas across Iowa.
Nice, nice. So what we're going to do before we wrap things up is we're going to take a look at the cards for night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania and get Casey Jax's predictions. So night 1, we have for the tag team championships, we have the War Raiders, who presently hold the belts, against this sort of retooled New Day, who are experiencing a renaissance with a whole new and nasty attitude.
That's right. And your winners and new WWE World Tag Team Champions, the New Day.
This match, I am really excited to see. I have enjoyed seeing Jacob Fatu make his journey into WWE. I'm glad that they seem to really be pulling the trigger on the guy. I'm wearing a Fatu shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, I really believe the sky is the limit for Jacob Fatu. My biggest question is it time for him to win gold yet? And I don't know, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it may not be time for him to win gold, but it definitely ain't the time for him to lose either.
Yeah.
I think this has Jacob Fatu going over, written all over it, and it pains me to say because I love LA Knight. I wish the world for him. He's one of the most entertaining talkers in the business today.
Oh, for sure.
If not the most, like bar none. Like he is awesome. But I think Jacob Fatu is gonna roll him over.
Yeah. The only way I see LA Knight retaining is if there are shenanigans, such as Solo Sikoa sticking his nose in, in a, I guess, a air quotes fair match. Fatu's going to walk right through him.
Yeah, I don't know the build to this. I've been behind on SmackDown recently just with my work schedule, but I would not hate some like inadvertent bloodline interference that cost Jacob the title in some way. That would not make me upset at all. I think would be a very good way to get him away from the title picture again for a little while. Yeah.
Now we have Naomi versus AEW Goldberg.
I mean, come on. Like, Like, what does anyone think is going to happen here? Yeah, nice new heel character, Naomi. But yeah, that's right. That's AEW Goldberg over there, and yeah, no, they're going to keep booking her like a star.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this match in terms of length and such, because I mean, with her having gotten the Goldberg treatment in AEW, she's never really worked a match of any length. So it would be interesting to put her in a match where she actually has to work more than 2 minutes, and just see how she does. There's been all kinds of rumor, conjecture, and speculation around her as to how she is progressing in the WWE system. And I feel like they've kept her in a largely tag team environment up to now. So it'll be interesting to see how she does in a really high profile match like this. So.
Yeah. I think Naomi too is, since she only returned like last year's Rumble, right? If I'm not mistaken, or the year before.
I believe it was last year. Yeah.
And her time away too did numbers for like introducing some personality and like in-ring work for her too. So like there could be an argument to say that like they're putting the trust in Naomi to like work Jade through a pretty solid match, but also it's not a lot of need to, like except for again to like maintain Naomi's character a little bit, but. Yeah, I think a lot of people would just like to see Jade get really pissed off and just roll over Naomi.
Yeah. Americano we've got Rey Mysterio and Chad Americano or what?
That's El Grande Americano, all right? And not a damn thing you can say can convince me other. This is my favorite thing going on the WrestleMania card right now.
See,
dude, I love this story so much. El Grande Americano's going over. He's unmasking Rey Mysterio. Brother did not have a whole luchador like training arc in Mexico just to come away the fucking loser to the greatest luchador of all time. Oh man, I love this storyline so much.
I know it just it completely cracks me up. I ran across a meme this morning that I really got a kick out of. It was basically a meme of Rey Mysterio unmasking El Grande Americano, and it was Vince McMahon.
Dude, because it's just the same as like when we did Ezekiel and Elias a couple years ago, man. It's just one of those stupid hokey tropes that's just funny, man.
It's just fun. It's comedy relief,
But
and
also
you need that.
But in this match too, these guys are gonna go crazy.
Oh, for sure.
These guys are awesome in ring, and they're gonna put them on a beggar. Yep.
I mean, yeah, both of those guys are just both of them are just truly exceptional, and Rey Mysterio is another one that it's amazing at his age that he is still operating at the level he is operating at.
That's them stem cells at work, brother. Brother is going to be young forever.
Absolutely. So now we've got Tiffany and Charlotte. And this one, I honestly don't really care particularly. I really just kind of want this match over with.
Man, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, and how thankful it is that we get to talk about this at Tiffy time. Like, I love Tiffany Stratton. I think, like, again, she's like good. She's good in ring for how new she is. Like, I like the character. She's got a fantastic look, and I'm really, really nervous that her championship reign has like met its end. I have zero interest in seeing another Charlotte Flair title reign.
Same here.
So yeah, so it's like, I'm I wouldn't be or go so far as to say like I don't care about this match, but I genuinely don't know what they're really gonna do, and I'm interested in that regard. But the story doesn't. I just like it was like watching old Roman matches like from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You kind of have an idea, but you hope for the best.
Yeah. Yep. Jey Uso and Gunther.
This might be a hot take. I don't think that Jey Uso is going to win this one.
Funny thing is, I've been going back and forth about this match virtually all week, and at this point, I'm in your same camp. I think Gunther is going to hold on to the title, and I think we are seeing some glimmers of a possible Jey Uso heel turn.
Oh, Okay.
I don't know. It's and I'll extrapolate a little more later on in these predictions as to why I think Gunther's going to hold on to the belt. But for now, I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to say Gunther retains.
Yeah, I think it would really hurt the future of Gunther's character. I don't have outside of that. I have zero like as far as like the grand scheme, like the bigger picture going on past the Raw World title, the World Heavyweight title scene. I'm not sure like what kind of ramifications that's gonna have. I just think like it's a good feel-good story, but ultimately like there is nothing that's happened since their last match at Saturday Night's Main Event that they had, the world title match, that has really warranted like Jey Uso all of a sudden like becoming that guy, outside of like Jimmy getting bloodied to death. Which is all this to say, hey, if you know something I don't about what's going to happen at this Night 2 main event, you better keep your mouth shut, brother. Yep. Oh, shit. No, I haven't been clocking this Jey Uso heel turn at all. But if it happens, brother. This match, I don't care. I don't care what happens. I'm going to sit here and enjoy the entire lot of it. I think CM Punk is probably going to win unless they do some bananas storyline work on it.
Go ahead.
I'd love to see Seth Rollins win, especially after the promo he cut on Monday, where he was basically just like, hey, like, you guys don't care, like, about this business. You just want to work when it's convenient for you. If it gets hard, you're just going to leave and you're going to, like, he's basically the I loved wrestling when it wasn't cool and I hate you guys for it character in this. And you know what? Same.
Yeah. You know, I actually think that Roman and Punk are going to cancel each other out, and I think Rollins is actually going to win this match.
I don't know, man. When stakes are this high, it's so nice just to be able to go like how Rock said last year. Shut up and enjoy the ride we're gonna take you on. That's where I'm at for. And God, I love that we're back at a time in wrestling where moments like this are much more common. You know.
Yeah. You know, it's the new regime in WWE. You know, post Vince. I mean, we're back to an age where it really does feel like almost anything is possible, and it's a cool place to be in.
Yeah. Anything is possible, but in a way that like makes sense. You know, we're not just throwing curveballs for the sake of it. All right.
Okay, we've got what's her face?
Yeah.
Liv Morgan and Perez versus Lyra Valkyria and Bailey.
Yeah.
I don't care. I hate to say it, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I like most all the women in this match outside of like I don't care a ton for Raquel Rodriguez, and that's like, you know, that's not like a I think
Rodriguez. I was calling her Perez.
It's not like, you know, I'm not here to bury anyone. It's not my place. It's just I'm not super entertained by her watching the product. I think again there's potential for them to build a separate story off of this surrounding the women's intercontinental title on Lyra Valkyria with Bailey. So I think there's potential. I think Liv and Raquel retain. But who knows? You know, I think this is one of those, again, the stakes are relatively low, so it's just like whatever they decide to do with it, I hope it's good.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I actually like all four of these wrestlers. I just don't like them teamed together. I mean, I just think it's just kind of an awkward match.
Yeah, well, and I mean, well, of course you have the women's mid-card belt go like fighting for the women's tag team championships, like
it's almost a wonky match.
Yeah,
but
what are you gonna do?
Exactly. This match I am really looking forward to.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think Braun Breaker walks out of Mania with the belt.
Nope. I heard one person tell me this could be Dominic's chance to walk away with singles gold, and I haven't looked back. That's been my thoughts ever since. I was just like, you know what? Book it.
I would love to see him with a belt, just because he would be so insufferable. I mean,
yeah. Well, okay. So here's the thing, right? It's 100% like harebrained fantasy booking to really say that logistically, just because of the storytelling they've been really doing. I think they realize, because I think Dom is still the number one heel in the company, but the way that they've been like telling this story is trying to paint Finn Balor as the heel. So this new regime, like you said, they're not tone deaf to the fans and just like gonna like power book that. And possibly, again, like, you know, ruin their top heel in the company. But they're also, like, with how they're trying to book Finn into this situation, they're kind of already doing that. Oh, God, I don't know. again, like, I think you're right. Braun Breaker doesn't walk away. I think it's too soon for Penta to have singles title. He's been having some developmental issues from what I've heard and understand. WWE never wants to give Finn Balor fans fucking anything because they hate us. They hate Finn Balor fans. They hate Finn Balor. I hate my life. So we'll just see. I think it might be a Dominic Mysterio title win.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And, the one of the main reasons that I'm thinking that Breaker does not come out of Mania with the belt is, in the event Gunther retains, I think they move Breaker into a program with Gunther.
You know what? I like it.
I do too. I actually think Breaker's style and Gunther's style could really produce some bangers.
100%. That being said, I would like that program to last like a couple months tops.
Yeah.
Because what I want is to have that salty ass run back. I want Gunther and Ilya Dragunov to fight over that belt for a year. Damn it.
Yeah. Once Dragunov comes back from his knee, and I've actually heard that he is further along in rehab and recovery from that than they were anticipating.
Hell yeah.
So, okay, AJ and Logan Paul.
Oh boy.
AJ deserves better.
Yeah, but also again, it's kind of like we mentioned with Kevin Owens earlier. What does he owe to the business anymore?
That's true. That's true.
Like, put the kid over. He's been doing good work.
Yeah.
Don't like it, but I'm not supposed to like it. That's the point.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I mean, I think Logan Paul goes over.
They've been putting his new finish over like suspiciously hard in the build up to it. So there's maybe something to say about maybe they won't, but like the writing's pretty much on the wall.
Yeah.
And Logan Paul getting to say he beat the Phenomenal One would be a huge boon.
For sure. So Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre.
You know what? My gut's telling me I don't care about this match. And that makes me really sad because I love Drew McIntyre. And I used to be a big Damian Priest hater, but I kind of recently kind of got the point, kind of got it, so to speak. I think Damian Priest is actually quite good. I just don't understand why these two are feuding. I don't get it.
Right. I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I like both of these guys, but I don't feel like they've really got a lot of chemistry together. I'm just kind of, I mean, it'll be fun to watch them, do whatever they're going to do to each other. But I mean, I'm kind of ready for this program to be over.
Yeah.
But I'll say McIntyre.
I'll say Priest. I'd like to say McIntyre. Again, I don't know the story or the or the build, but Priest usually performs well in these hardcore matches.
True. Okay, we've got this three-way. We've got Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair.
Brother, I am so nervous for this match. Just for Io Sky's sake, it would make no sense to me if we spent all this time having Io's character be surrounded around, hey, you guys aren't paying attention to me. Stop treating me like I don't matter. I'm the champion. I matter. Just for them to say, you're right, Io. You don't matter. New champion, Bianca. Like Bianca or like if anyone not Io Sky wins this, it's going to be like, what did we build her character around this for?
Exactly.
And I mean, obviously, if they do decide to go a different direction, like hopefully there's at least a reason for it. Like because there isn't really a heel in this match, but like. I mean, again, if they do that to Io, and then what? Does she like turn heel, and then we get damage control heel again? With like, I don't know, fuck it. Again, it's one of those. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me to have anyone other than Io go over, but I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know.
Well, the way I'm kind of looking at this match, I actually feel like Io is basically in the Seth Rollins position. I think Rhea and Bianca cancel each other out, and Io actually retains.
That's what I hope for, man.
We'll see. We'll see. And then we have Cody and Cena.
I'm gone.
I'm
brother.
saying I'm
can't
saying
see me.
Cena. I'm saying Cena. Yeah.
Yeah. This is another one of those. I don't know how we're gonna get there, but man, it's gonna be so fun.
Oh, it is. It is. I'm. This is actually going to be a really fun Mania.
Real quick, is it just me, or do the dudes in this graphic look like they were drawn by AI? There's some uncanny valley, like happening.
Yeah.
Like John Cena specifically looks like he came straight out of a fucking Disney cartoon. What are we doing here?
Yeah. It's this particular graphic is very strange. I almost find the expression on Cena's face a little unsettling.
And like, that's probably like by design. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, you know what? I don't care if he's heel and hates. And this is what's so scuffed about this booking is like anyone I've talked to about this, like either within the business or outside, kind of like that's a fan of the product, kind of has the same sentiments. Kind of like, yeah, like I understand that he's a heel, but I still want him to beat Ric Flair's streak. Like,
yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna go Cena, and I'm just delighted to be along for the ride.
yeah.
I mean,
Saturday, here we come. Man, tomorrow's gonna be a long day. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Yep, absolutely. So, before we wrap this up, do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
Brother, it's Mania week. You already know we ain't doing nothing this weekend. It's if you ain't in Vegas, you ain't working, brother.
Yeah.
I'll say I'll get upcoming. At the end of the month, I'll be with SCW Pro. At our Hawkamania series at Wildwood Saloon in Iowa City, Iowa. I'm also doing May 3rd. I'm with Homegrown Wrestling, but hold on. I'm gonna fact check that one here. Let's see. I just had the post up. I just forget the name of the town that we're in. Chenoa, Illinois, on May 3rd for Homegrown Wrestling.
Gotcha.
Other than that, I'm a busy dude. Like I got a sister getting married in May, so like I
Oh,
don't.
congratulations to her.
Yeah,
That's
thank you,
awesome.
thank you. So yeah.
Well, as far as what we've got coming up, this next Wednesday, the 23rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I've got episode 110 with pro wrestler and leader of the Creamy World Order and head of the Intergender Bonanza, Stan Styles. And then the following Monday, the 28th, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I've got episode 111 with a female pro wrestler by the name of Zenith. And then Tuesday, the 29th at 7 p.m., I've got episode 112 with another female wrestler, the Island Girl, Tracy Taylor. And, for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that will be seeing this on replays and such, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe. And before we sign off, do you have any final words for the audience?
No, other than hey, happy Mania week, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Always a pleasure to get live on air in front of a new audience, kind of tell my story a little bit, talk about, one of my favorite things in the world in pro wrestling. And yeah, I hope everyone has an awesome WrestleMania weekend.
Absolutely. And to Zach's lacrosse team, I see that you've challenged me to do the USC water ice bucket challenge. I'm down. Do a formal nomination, and I'll do it in the next day or two. So anyway, like I said, I'll be back next Wednesday at 7. Like Casey said, everybody have a wonderful Mania weekend and a great Easter. And until next time, be good.